So this is really happening. Okay. I am the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku Animation News Network, and this is my Quickie review for Yakuza Like a Dragon Season 1. Remember to click like, subscribe, the bell notification, and whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. Some of you may know that over COVID, I fell in love with the Yakuza Like a Dragon franchise. I played all of them during that time frame that were out at that time, and obviously I've played the ones that have come out since. So I was super excited to find out there was going to be a TV show adaptation, and it was going to star Kamen Rider Drive's actor as Kiryu. I had very high hopes for him as Kiryu. Okay, so let me first talk about the good in this show. It's only 6 episodes. Drive's actor, who I can't think of his name off the top of my head, does a really good job and works so hard with the material he has been given. There are some pretty cool fight sequences. There's this fighting arena that Kiryu is in that's really well done. The music is done well for the most part. There's a couple of standout fights, and they got the look of the locations of Kamurocho pretty accurate looking for the most part. It's kind of weird having the Millennium Tower in the middle of the entertainment district, but it is what it is. Everything else though looks like it came right out of a Yakuza game. So, what did they get wrong? Remember how I said a positive was it was only 6 episodes? That's because 6 episodes was a chore to get through. The show does this like time jumping back and forth between 1995 and 2005. Now in the first game, when you start out, you're in 1995 and you go through this little adventure. Kiryu ends up having to save his friend Nishikiyama, who is killed Yakuza, and Kiryu takes the blame, goes to jail for it, spends 10 years in prison, comes out, finds out Nishikiyama is a villain, and it goes on from there. The TV show has Kiryu Nishikiyama with 2 girls, Nishikiyama's sister Miho, and another girl named Yumi that kind of likes Kiryu and Kiryu likes her. And they're robbing a Yakuza game arcade, get caught, and then Kiryu and Nishikiyama pledge their loyalties to the Yakuza. Oh, and Kazuma, who's in charge of the orphanage that they live at, is a former Yakuza. Now, I understand that there were things going to be, like changes going to be made from the games. But first of all, Kiryu and Nishikiyama were supposed to be raised as part of the Yakuza in the 80s. Kazuma never left the Yakuza. Furthermore, the Dragon of Dojima moniker that Kiryu is known for, that he earned in the games from his reputation of how fearsome he is actually in this show a title you earn by being an underground fighter. For every match Kiryu wins, he gets a little bit of ink on his back filled in for a dragon, and when the dragon is fully completed, he becomes the Dragon of Dojima. I am not kidding. They couldn't even get that part right of the game? But wait, it gets even better. The actor who plays Nishikiyama is horrible. I'm not sure if it's his acting that's bad or if it's just the characterization of Nishikiyama is so poorly done, but it doesn't work. Anyway, so first episode we have 1995. They become Yakuza. And then we do time jumping and Kiryu's in prison. Kiryu's getting released from prison. Then we go back to 1995. Then we go back to 2005, back to 1995, 2005, back to 1995, 2005, 1995, and with little snippets of like 1988 in there or something like that. Oh, okay. The time jumping got tiresome. They don't even show you why Kiryu goes to prison until the final episode. So you basically are watching him go through this tournament. Nishikiyama's sister gets sick. And you're just doing all these events. Yumi meets her sister, Aiko. And all these events leading up to episode 6, it leads to Kiryu taking the blame for Nishikiyama killing a Yakuza and going to prison for it. And then these jumps to 2005, but Kiryu is barely even in the show in 2005. I think if you were to just take all of his scenes from 2005, you would have less than an entire episode of them. And these episodes are like 44 minutes long, except episode 5 is 55 minutes for some reason, which it felt 55 minutes. Yeah, so Yumi and Aiko in the game was the same character, but here they are two different people. Aiko is the actual biological daughter of Haruka, where in the game it was Yumi. So there's that. Also, Kiryu only meets Haruka one time when he first saves her in a manga library. Not a bar, a manga library. And, okay, fine, a manga library, cool, makes more sense for a child to be there. But he rescues her and takes her to Yumi, and that's the only interaction he ever has with Haruka. There is no relationship building with Haruka so that he can adopt Haruka at the end of the story like it's supposed to be. So they completely missed that aspect that Kiryu is supposed to build a relationship with a little girl, adopts her because it's meant to reflect on his relationship with his master, Kazuma, and how he feels this loyalty towards her like he did with his master. So they completely botched that point. That is a big plot point to completely mess up because it completely changes Kiryu's character entirely. It's like these people didn't even watch or play the frickin' video games to know how these characters are supposed to act. Then we have Majima, who is barely even in the show. He's like maybe 5 minutes tops across the entire show. His partner Seijima, who is a major player in later Yakuza games, is killed off in 1995. The florist is completely inaccurate. Date barely even shares screen time with Kiryu. They have a couple conversations, but we never actually see what built the relationship. And they changed the ending around, so Akiyama can't happen. The fight at the end is so short and lackluster. It's like, what was the frickin' point of all that build-up if you weren't even gonna have a good payoff for it? Even if I were to ignore the game, which is hard to do, they got so many things wrong. The payoff was not worth it. This show had no fun in it. That was, I think, the biggest problem. Everything is done so grim, dark, seriously. It ruins it. It takes the fun away. Kiryu does not have this charismatic personality that's like, yeah, I'm doing this. No, he's got more of a reserved, introverted personality. Yeah, sometimes he will speak his mind, but most of the time he's very quiet. He doesn't talk at all, which in the games he does talk. He talks a lot in the games. This isn't the worst video game adaptation I've ever seen, but it has got to be one of the most awful I have seen in quite some time. This is the Mortal Kombat annihilation of Yakuza. It is bad. None of the fun is there. They don't have any Yakuzas in diapers. They don't have any ghost tape stories. No guy running around in his underwear. Like, come on. You could have at least had that. Had someone in the background doing the whole... There's nothing. There's no sub-story jokes in here at all. There's barely... They go to the bar in the games or Heaven's Earth, or whatever, Earth Angel, which is supposed to have the host is a dude in drag. They're not in the show. Like, what the hell were they thinking? Did they just not even... Did they hire writers who had no idea what the series was? They just said, write a show called Yakuza. Here are a couple bullet points. Or did they read a synopsis and say, oh, okay, we've got this. Like, man, this show is bad. So, if you are a Yakuza Like a Dragon fan and you have not watched the show, don't watch it. It is not worth your time. If you do not know the games, don't watch this show. It is not worth your time. Play the games instead. If playing video games is not your thing, go check out YouTube videos of people playing the games. You'll have a lot more enjoyment with that. If you want to watch a dour experience that is halfway poorly acted, poorly written, poorly paced, and I think that was the biggest thing. If you're not going to follow the games, don't pace your show like shit. The viewers who aren't familiar with these characters are going to be bored out of their mind. They're going to be like, oh my god, this show is so boring. And so I don't even know who this show is made for, because it's clearly not made for Yakuza fans because it's boring as hell and doesn't follow the games, but it's also clearly not made for non-Yakuza fans because they're not going to have any desire to continue after episode 1. They have no relation to these characters, no investment in these characters. They're just like, yeah, this is just a regular show. Why do I care about this when there's so much better? Arrow did the time flipping thing much better than this. Batman Begins did the time flipping aspect better than this. Kamen Rider Kiva did the time flipping thing way better than this, and that was the point of that show. I have no idea what their obsession was with flipping back and forth. Everything that occurred in the past in 1995 could have been told in the first episode. And then episodes 2 to 5 could have just focused on 2005 with maybe an occasional flip back. But yeah, Yakuza Like a Dragon Season 1, I'm going to give it a generous 4 out of 10, and I will not be back for Season 2. In fact, I really just hope it gets canceled, and which sucks for the people that did find a way to like it. I don't know, did anyone actually like this? Let me know in the comments. Do you like the games? What's your favorite game? Did you watch the show? What did you think of it? Click like, subscribe, the bell notification, whatever else YouTube has clicking to support me. You can support me on Patreon and Bluesky at tokuaannetwork, Network, and then Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, my website creativitybydesignllc.com, and you can buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise at creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. There's also a link in the description below. And until next time, bye.